Good morning, Team Magnetic. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Jodi Bienenfeld. And the first thing that I want to do is just thank Kara Mascari, who we all know and love, for arranging these trainings. These trainings are so key for all of us because, like we hear again and again, we're better together and we really learn so much from each other's trial and errors. So thank you, Karen. If anybody missed Dina's training from, I think, Monday, it was absolutely amazing. And we're so lucky that Dina was able to train on that because, like I texted her afterwards, like, if Dina can make this work like she is with her busy schedule, we all can, no excuses. So what I'm going to talk about today is what we call the RF formula for success. And it's funny because, you know, some of us call it Amy's formula. I don't know if other teams break it down exactly like this, but it's been so helpful because I think that one of the first things, at least for me, that a new prospect always asks, or a new consultant, how do I do this? What steps do I do? And you know, of course, there's so many things to learn at the beginning, but really, if you focus on these steps, you can make this work. So, before I give the exact steps, I want to share just this little interchange between Amy and her sponsor, Amanda Hall. Together, they run the Team A Game board. And when Amy either had just joined or was thinking of joining, she said to Amanda, so who doesn't succeed in this business? And Amanda said, anyone who's not in motion, anyone who's not doing the activity. So really, when we talk about not reinventing the wheel, having a tried and true system in place, this is what we're talking about. So, you know, we're given the steps that take us to success. So first, I'm going to just break down what each of them is, and then I'll talk a little bit about each one. So the formula for success, number one, listen to 2 recorded training calls a week. What we train our teams to do, and we recommend, is that you listen to the Sunday night international call that's run by Sarah Robbins and her mom, Chris Fairless, the first consultant. And the second one that we recommend is the Monday night call, the amped up call that's always done by a level 5 leader. So listening to those 2 calls is 100% a way to stay plugged in. And because they're recorded, you know, Sunday night at 8:30 is never a particularly good time for me to sit down and do some work because everybody's getting ready for the week. But, you know, I listen to it Monday morning when I'm walking my dog. And the Monday night call, I listen to Tuesday morning when I'm driving to my yoga class. So, it's good to get into a rhythm with those and figure out, you know, when to listen to them that works for you. The second, and I'll get back to those a little bit. The second thing is to read the Insider Scoop company newsletter that shows up in your email every Wednesday. We got one today that talked about virtual convention, that talked about the reverse regimen. They give us usable images to share on social media. They tell us what's happening with upcoming events around the country. You know, this seems like such an obvious one. You're part of a company and your company puts together a newsletter every week. It's hard for me to imagine being in any other kind of a job, a more, typical, normal job, where there would be a newsletter and we wouldn't read it. And yet so many times, you mentioned the Insider Scoop. What's that? So just, another thing to be not only doing yourself, but all of these, it's important to mention that not only is it important to be doing it yourself, but sharing with your teams. And that gets into what you've heard probably a million times, duplication. So Amy teaches me to do something, and then I share it with my team, and so on and so on. So everybody should have an appointment to read the Insider Scoop every Wednesday morning. Probably takes 4 minutes. The third thing, which seems to be a little more scary for everybody than reading a newsletter, myself included, is to bring your sponsor at least 1 3-way call every week. So a minimum of 4 calls a month. this seems to be, for a lot of people, the biggest stumbling block. How do I bring a three-way call? How do I say, will you get on the phone with me and my sponsor? So I want to say that not only does the three-way call work, as evidenced by my friend and new consultant, Christina Mack, shout out to Christina, who joined in May, I'm wrong, who joined in June and is doing beautifully. They work, and they work for a couple of reasons. They give another opinion, so it's getting that outside credibility, and it also really shows that we're practicing what we preach, that we're a team, we're here to help you. And so with that three-way call, whether it's to explain the products or the business, it's that feeling that there is support. I personally have really started stressing the three-way call for my new consultants to bring people on, even to hear about the new products, especially to hear about the new products. Because yes, we have the solution tool, but a new consultant, isn't as familiar with combining things from different regimens, let alone explaining the PC Perks program. So to me, it is crucial to bring those calls not only for business prospects, which then continues, I still bring calls all the time, but also for the products, because these calls, and I forgot to mention this, the third most important reason for the calls is really for the consultant. They are used as training for new consultants in the beginning, so that you hear how your sponsor talks about whether it's the business or how to use the roller or how to, the benefits of the PC Perks program. So three-way call, I think that the biggest thing is how to get somebody onto it. And, I've tried lots of different language, and Amy does always say to me, keep it super simple. So for instance, when I was going through my preferred customer list, trying to bring happy preferred customers onto three-way calls, which now I'm really trying to get my team to do, and I've had some success with that. It was very simple. I said, hi, Christina. I know you love our products, and my sponsor just wants to talk to a few of my happy customers. Would you mind jumping on the phone with us for 10 minutes? Who's not going to say yes to that? So we all tend to overcomplicate that. And with the business now, I have really boiled it down to saying, hey, my business partner likes to talk to anybody that I've mentioned the business to for a few minutes, just to shed some light, give another opinion. Would you mind doing that for me? At the beginning, I feel like it's much simpler, and I don't mean to go into a whole three-way call thing, but they're so crucial to our business that I feel like they deserve a little more explanation. That at the beginning, I feel like it's so easy to say, you know what, I'm new to this, and this is something that we use for training. So would you do this as a favor for me so that I can hear my sponsor talk about whether it's the business or the products? Your nearest and dearest are going to want to help you out in your new venture, especially if you say, I know this isn't for you, or I know you're not interested in the products. I just need to hear my mentor say the language for my training. So if you would just help me. And so many times they actually do hear something that they like, and at the end may end up, whether that day or 3 months from now, becoming a customer or a teammate. So they work. Try to bring one at least every week. And lastly, with the formula is attend at least one live event per month. That's easier for some people than for other people. Maybe there aren't as many live events, whatever the case may be. It's really that whole idea that we're in this together, and that there is an energy and so much to gain from being at live events, whether you're bringing a prospect or not, just to be part of that vibe. So I cannot stress that enough, whether you and somebody on your team are hosting coffee and conversation, like my team often does on Wednesdays at a Starbucks, or whether you hold a monthly business presentation in one of your homes, which when Amy and Amanda and I started doing that after convention 2 years ago, you know, we would go through the whole presentation if there was one person in the room, and sometimes there was one person. So that's one kind of live event. Obviously, the other kind is where there's a lot more people, whether it's a corporate run event or like last night, a bunch of us were together in Franklin Lakes at the Trifecta run by our upline. It's really, you know, we build friendships and relationships. We all know that's one of the best parts of this business, and it gives us a chance to be together, share ideas, just give each other a hug, and I love those events. The last thing that I am personally going to add to the formula, so that kind of laid out is what we've been seeing as our RF journey formula for success. What I am adding is the RF experience, the daily videos that are by different leaders every day, and they are usually about 10 minutes, and they just talk about whatever they want to talk about that day, whether it's not taking rejection personally, or, you know, how to prospect people when you're at the supermarket, lifestyle marketing, whatever it is. These are great because they're short, and I love the idea of hearing these things from people, and the more you hear it, the more it sinks in. So last night at the Level 5 happy hour before the Trifecta, where I was lucky enough to have Wendy Bain as my guest. Shout out to Wendy, and so nice to be with so many people from the team. Karen, Ashley, and I'm forgetting other people. But when Melissa was talking about these videos, she was saying that, you know, with these RF experience videos, so many people are saying, oh my God, did you hear, you know, what, sorry, I have to turn off the sound on my computer, like what such and such leader said. And she would say to her team, like, yeah, but I've been saying that, you know, for 6 months. Sometimes it's just hearing it a different way from somebody that you're not used to hearing stuff from. The one thing I want to just stop and say right now, whether it's about the RF experience or the training calls, those really in particular, there's a lot of training out there. And we often hear from people who have been in the business for a few years, you know, when I started and, you know, walked 10 miles to school. But no, when I started and, you know, there was no training, there was only the Sarah Robbins call. And now there's so much training that maybe a newbie doesn't know what to do first, what to do with all that training. Do I listen to all the calls, watch all the videos? Then we're doing this training, whatever it is. So I loved the answer that, I don't remember who gave it, Melissa or Lori, that said, you know, you're going to do whatever you do. You're going to do the amount of training that you feel is right for you, or by trial and error you figure out. But you can train from, you know, now till Christmas. If you don't put that training into action, then the training was for naught, right? So the last part of the formula that actually I didn't mention, which is probably the most important part based on what I just said, is reaching out, oops, dropped my pen, is reaching out to 5 new people a day. So that's 35 people a week. And myself included, oh my God, how do I do that? How do I find, you know, 35 people to reach out to a week? So I won't go into all the ways that, you know, we've all been taught and trained, whether it's adding new friends on Facebook, reaching out to friends, picking up the phone, Facebook message, text, email, etc., etc. I guess I did just go into it. But what's been really helpful for me with those reach outs, similar to what Dina was saying about setting up her week, with reach outs, I found that I would sit down every morning to go do those reach outs, and I was so daunted by figuring out who I was going to reach out to that, knowing I had all that work ahead of me, I often would just say, I'll reach out tomorrow. So instead now, on Sunday, I literally make a list of 35 people. And I have a calendar with each day, and I write down 5 names. And each day, after I send that text message or pick up the phone, I check off that name. That's what works for me, because it is daunting to think about reaching out to 5 people a day, but that's what works. It's a numbers game. We always hear that. That is what it takes. That is what we call IPA, the income producing activity. So to wrap this all up in a bow, there's the connection between the formula for success and the income producing activity. When I first started hearing IPA, I'm like, what the hell is IPA? So the income producing activity is actually, the actions, the reach outs, the following up with people that is what is going to get you business, whether it's customers or new teammates. So yes, all the training in the Formula for Success and the listening to the calls and the reading the insider scoop, being trained through the three-way calls and or using them as prospecting or for products, all of that is huge and key, watching the RF experience. But putting that all into action through your IPA, income producing activity, is the biggest part of the formula. And I'm just gonna end with one really cute thing that I thought was really relatable, and I had never thought of it like this. One of the guests at the happy hour last night, I think she's a level 2. She's been in the business for a few months, really enthusiastic. I don't remember her name. Said that she loves watching the RF experience so much that she considers that her ice cream every day with her income producing activity. So she enjoys that so much that she doesn't let herself watch that until she does her 5 reach outs. And, I thought that was amazing. That's discipline, and that's getting the work done that is going to propel her forward. She's still getting that nugget, because who doesn't want to see Jenna Kravitz or Sarah LeBlanc or some other fabulous RFX leader? Those are my 2 girl crushes in this business, we all know. Telling their story, telling what works. But you know what? You have to eat your veggies before you get to ice cream. So do those reach outs, follow this formula. And you know what? Like I tell my yoga students when I keep talking about the breath, and I say, but if you realize that you've been sort of holding your breath or your mind's wandered, don't then let that get you down on yourself. You know what? If you don't do the formula for a couple of days, for a week, it's there for you every day. Your sponsor's there, your sidelines are there. So you know it, you have it. And if you don't do it for a few days, don't beat yourself up and get yourself into that rut. Just pick it up that day and do it then. So, lots of info. Definitely follow the formula, do those IPAs, and thank you all for taking the time to listen. Have a great week. Happy Wednesday. And really thank you, Karen, for setting up this training. Take care, guys. Bye.